It's time for the X and Y Show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y Show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y Show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
And greetings, and greetings. Welcome to another segment of the XY Show. I'm your host, Roosevelt. And welcome to another Friday as we explore another subject, another topic on the XY Show that affects marriages, relationships, or both. And also affects men, women, or both. So we're always talking about something, the nitty gritty on the X and Y Show. Nothing escapes us, or me rather. So anything you would like to hear, be sure to send me a note and see if we can chat about it. Now be sure to be sure to listen to me on any platform that you feel comfortable. I'm available on my main platform is Spreaker. That's where all my archived episodes are, the ones that you may have missed in the past. Excuse me. So Spreaker is my main platform where I house all of my episodes. But I'm also available on iTunes. I'm also available on TuneIn. I'm also available on Stitcher. I'm also available on Google Play as well. So a lot of choices that you have to check the X and Y Show out. So whatever venue is more comfortable to you, be sure to follow me and subscribe to me so you can always be notified and always be well informed when a new episode is available. And also be sure to follow me on all of the social network media, or the main ones anyway. I'm on Tumblr, I'm on Twitter, on Facebook, and Instagram. You can find all of that on my website, my social media, and as well as the venues to listen to the XY Show. The website is www.thexyshow.com. That's www.thexyshow.com. Be sure to visit. Also visit the X and Y store and be sure to buy a t-shirt or a coffee mug. Just show you're a real X and Y'er, and send me a picture and I will post it on my Instagram account. And also send me any notes of constructive criticisms, any ideas of shows, whatever you might want to say to me, and I will definitely take it to ear. So, with that being said, let's get on to tonight's episode without further ado. Tonight's episode is, are traditional women still wanted by men? Are traditional women still wanted by men? When I say traditional women, I'm talking about women who are housewives. And I'm talking about old-fashioned housewives. Like, you remember that show, The Beaver? You know, Mrs. I forget Beaver and them last name, but you know what I'm talking about. The Beaver's mother. Basically, she was a house mother. You know, she was responsible for the house stuff, the house shit. You know, she did all the cooking, she did all the cleaning, she did all of the laundry, anything, you know, helped them with homework, anything that Beaver and Wally had to do. or taking care of them, or taking care of their needs, and taking care of Dad's needs, Warren. Anything that had to do with the house was her deal. Warren's responsibility was just to make the money and bring it home and provide for the family. But her job was housewife. She took care of the house duties. And that was the traditional wife of that time period. Most of the time during that period when that show was on, and before that, of course, women were housewives. They were not working, so to speak, like they are now. Now it's, women are working like crazy, and even in leadership positions. But back then, women just didn't work. They were to stay home and be mothers and take care of the family, and so forth. So that's what I call the traditional woman, old-fashioned traditional woman. Now, there's a difference between a housewife and a stay-at-home mom. I want to get that clear. A housewife is actually a woman that actually does house shit. She cooks, she cleans, everything. She gives, time homeboy, the husband needs some pussy, she's there for that. Anything that, she does it all. But a stay-at-home mom is what I call a woman that just stay at home and don't do shit. She's just there. She ain't doing shit. There's a big difference. So I don't want you to get that mixed up when I'm talking about an old-fashioned traditional wife. I'm not talking about the stay-at-home woman. I'm talking about the woman that was a housewife, but she still was getting shit done. And it was still, her duties were still essential for the family to stay together. So, now, what type of wife do you want? I'm talking to the men out there. If you're already married, then you'll know if you have a traditional, old-fashioned traditional wife, or you have the new age wife, with the woman who is educated, but she don't have to necessarily be educated, but she's working. She's a career woman. She has a job or a career, and she's not just staying home waiting for you to bring home the bacon. She's actually contributing to the overall family structure financially, just like you. In a lot of ways, more. I did that show a few weeks ago. Women making more money, so check that out. But anyway, so now if you already married, you already know what type of woman that you're married to. Or, you might have married a new age woman, and now she is a traditional woman. Roles change under circumstances. People have kids, and the woman sacrifice, I'll sacrifice my career, I stay home with the kids. I'm homeschool the kids, or whatever. But situations change as well. But if you are not married, what type of woman do you want? Do you want a traditional woman, basically a glorified or good housewife, or do you want a new age woman? You want a career woman who's working just like you, and you both compromise more on the house duties, as far as the cleaning, and the cooking and everything that goes with the house, and as far as the kids as well. So what type of woman do you want? Now, 50 to 60 years ago, like I said, the answer to that question would have been easy: a housewife. Because it was the mindset back then was, you just didn't imagine a woman working, so you automatically wanted a housewife. You wanted someone who basically took care of the house, period. It was no compromise. You wanted someone who did the cooking. You wanted someone who did the cleaning. You wanted someone to take care of the children, the sewing, the homework, helping them with the homework. You wanted someone who did all of the washing, all the grocery shopping. Also, you wanted someone who could stay pregnant. You wanted someone who had no problem with anytime you wanted some pussy. She was there for you, and she had as many babies as you wanted. That's what you wanted back then. But do you necessarily want that now? Does a man dream about having a traditional woman now? Or does he dream about having a new age woman? I think that, in my opinion, it depends on the man, of course, obviously. And also, economics play a big part in that as well. For example, most households now are two-income households. And many have no choice. They have to work. The women have to work to make ends meet. Some homes don't have a luxury where the woman can stay home and they still can sustain a certain lifestyle. A lot of households, especially now in this economy, a lot of households have to be two-income households. So with that being said, economics definitely have a say in the decision making of that household. I mean, even if she wanted to be a housewife, she couldn't. She has to be a new age to make ends meet. They need two incomes for the family to basically survive. So I think, economics definitely play a big part in it as far as what type of woman do you want. Basically, if you're a working family or you're middle class family or going towards the poor side, more than likely you're going to have a two-income household. But if the man is affluent or rich, then more than likely the wife will be a stay-at-home wife. Now, notice I didn't say housewife. And I know a lot of you saying again, what's the difference? She's a housewife, she's a stay-at-home wife, she's not working. Well, yeah, there is a slight difference. Like I said before, the housewife is a wife that stays home, but she's still getting shit done. She's still getting house duties done. A stay-at-home wife is someone who's staying home, but ain't doing shit. They're just chilling. They're just staying home. It's a big difference, And I think a real housewife, has to keep things done up to a certain level in order to make the house thrive, in order for the house to move along. But a stay-at-home wife don't have to do shit, and they won't do shit. So, you have to distinguish what type of woman do you want. You want a stay-at-home wife, or do you want a traditional housewife, or do you want a new age wife? Do you desire? Which one do you desire? Now, if I ask my question to myself, what type of woman would I want? And I know a lot of you are wondering. Now, to be honest with you, I used to want a traditional, old-fashioned wife. I wanted someone who could cook. I wanted someone who could clean. Which, a lot of that stuff women can't do these days. A lot of women nowadays that you meet can't cook worth shit. A lot of them don't even know how to wash clothes. Some of them don't even wash their ass. So, the women of nowadays are just A lot of them are just lazy as hell and just don't know how to do shit. But, we're talking about what we desire. So, to be honest with you, I used to desire a traditional wife. I wanted someone who could cook. I wanted someone who could clean. I wanted someone who did the laundry. I wanted someone who took care of the kids. I wanted a housewife. I wanted someone, when I wanted some pussy, she was there. I wanted a housewife. Now, I'm not a sexist. I know a lot of you think that. I'm not a sexist. I'm not. I had an old way, I don't want to say old way of thinking, but I always thought that the man should be the breadwinner. I always thought the man that should be the provider for the family. It wasn't that I was being sexist or mean, keeping a wife home barefoot and pregnant. That wasn't the case. I just thought that the man's duty was to provide for the family, and the wife stay home and take care of the house, and the arrangement of that way. I don't think that was being mean, but over time you change. When I was that way when I was younger, but I've learned over the years from examples of other strong women and watching them actually do other things, be strong women, I really realized that I didn't want a traditional housewife. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that I think housewives are very essential to the family. I think housewives are very important. I think that they are extraordinary women. But it's just not the women that I desire at this point in my life. Before, yes, that's the kind of woman I wanted. Now, seeing certain examples of women has changed my outlook on that. For example, I'll give you a few women that you might recognize who has kind of changed my outlook on this. Tracy Edmonds. Now, she finer than a motherfucker, but that ain't why she changed my outlook on this. She changed my outlook because, she was, for those of you who don't know, she used to be married to Babyface. He was. Babyface is he's a major R&B artist, wrote songs for a lot of people, was very successful in the music business, and actually started an entertainment business as well. Now, Tracy Edmonds was the CEO of Edmonds Entertainment, and she's the CEO right now of Our Stories. So my point is that she was actually contributing to Babyface's success. They're no longer married, but still, she was contributing to his success. She was actually very involved in the family's business. She wasn't a housewife. She wasn't a stay-at-home wife. She was a new age wife, a business wife. She had everything. She had the education, she had the career, and she took care of her family. So that's what I think. And say again, I'm not putting down housewives. I'm not putting down even stay-at-home wives. But that's just, I think I heard Ice-T said, if I get married again, it has to be someone who hustles. Go hustles like I do. And I think that that's what I want now. Someone who hustles like I do. So Tracy Edmonds is definitely an example of that. She's definitely not waiting home for a man to bring home the bacon. Another woman, a strong woman, was Mrs. Eunice Johnson. For those of you who don't know, Mrs. Johnson, she was the wife of Mr. Johnson, who was the head of Johnson Publishing. They made Jet Magazine and Ebony, among other major magazines. So she was a very important part in Johnson Publishing Company. as a wife of Mr. Johnson. So she was a very strong woman. She was not a housewife. She was not a stay-at-home mom. She was a new age woman. She was a career woman, a strong mother as well. So she held down her business in the office and at home. So that's what I'm talking about. That's another example of a strong woman. Who else? Mrs. Sharon Osbourne. For those of you who don't know, she's married, or I think they're still married. I don't know. They was having problems. But she's married to Ozzy Osbourne, the metal star. I think that's what he sings. I wasn't a fan of his music. It was kind of weird, but she was a wife that supported his career, and I think she actually managed his career at one point. She's also a host on television series. It's not The View. It's I believe she was on The Talk. I believe that's the one it was. But anyway, but my point is, she was doing her own thing. She wasn't just waiting for Ozzy to come home with a check. She was actually contributing to the family financially. Maybe not as much as he was, but her part was just as important. So she was definitely another strong woman that has changed my outlook on this. And of course, who else? Mrs. Frances Swaggart. For those of you who know, she's the wife of the evangelist Jimmy Swaggart. She's very involved in his ministry as well. She's at his side. She does shows on his network. She's a very intricate part of the Swaggart industry. And so she's another strong example of a woman who is career-minded, not just a housewife. And I shouldn't say it like that. She's not a housewife, not a stay-at-home mom, but she's a career person, and she takes care of home. And last but not least, Mrs. Michelle Obama, our First Lady. She is definitely a woman that is not a stay-at-home type. She's very strong at President Obama's side, and being a very important ear to him and a very strong support to him as well. And so those are very strong women that have been examples to me. And there's countless others. I can't name every damn body. I mean, I'd be here all night. But there's countless other women that have been examples to me and have changed my outlook on how I feel. Now, again, it's not to put down housewives. I don't think there's anything wrong with a housewife. They're very important to the family as well. They're very very much needed as well. Stay-at-home moms, or whatever you want to call them, they're much needed as well. New age is needed as well. So it's just that there's nothing wrong with housewives or traditional wife, but it's just not what I want at this time. I think that it's because of my generation, being of a newer generation or being of a younger generation, that I feel this way. And I'm not the only one. There's other men out there in my generation and younger. They see their wives working unless they are affluent or rich. Then the wives don't have to work. 9 times out of 10, you can just stay home and do the house duties. But I think that since I was born in the generation where I'm used to seeing a 2-parent household, I've changed. First I wanted the traditional wife, but I've changed to wanting a new age wife, a wife that is career minded, someone who would actually contribute to what I'm trying to do and help me, achieve greatness, And by helping me, it helps us as a couple. It helps us as a couple if she's helping me and she has my back and she's looking out for me and she's giving me advice and she's actually contributing to our empire, as Fred Sanford used to say. So that's what I want. And that's not to say a housewife doesn't do that. I'm not saying that. She just does it in a different way. That's all. She does it in a different way than a career woman. A housewife does it in a different way. She supports the family by doing the house duties. Like I said earlier, she cooks, she cleans, she does the house functions, and so the house can thrive in that way, etc. That's her way of supporting, And a lot of housewives do more than that. I mean, come on. They actually, contribute to the family as well, and they give their husbands advice as well. They do everything. Some housewives do everything that the career wife or the new age wife do. It's just they do it in a little different way. So I think that's what you have to just determine. You have to determine what type of wife that is right for you. If a traditional wife is good for you, then you find you a traditional wife. If you want a career wife, then you find a career wife. If you want a wife to just stay home and sit on her ass, no matter what is the financial situation of the family, y'all struggling or y'all fluent, whatever, she's staying home. If that's what you want, then you go get it. So it all depends on what type of wife you want. So I asked the question again. Are traditional women still wanted by men? Are traditional women still wanted by men? And I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is yes. However, it depends on, like I said before, the economic situation and the male preference. And a little both sometimes. So, you got to understand. Whatever the man mindset is, or his financial situation is, that's pretty much the type of women he's going to want. And let me give you an example of that. Some men are barely making ends meet. And they still will not allow the woman to work. They feel that a woman's place is at home, doing the house duties, raising the children, and they feel that she should be there no matter what. And he brings home the money, no matter if they're struggling or what. She will not be permitted to go out and get a second job or a career of her own. So again, that's the mindset of that man. He has a traditional wife and he has a traditional mindset. So that's what he has, a traditional situation. But a man that has a new age mindset in a new age situation, maybe he's affluent, or maybe he's not affluent, but he has a new age mindset. So he's like, okay, I'm working, so maybe, I want me a wife that works. I want me a career-minded woman. I'm educated. I want a woman that's educated. I want a woman that has a career. I don't want a housewife or a full-time housewife. I don't want that. I want someone who's hustling like me. So, it depends on the mindset and the economic situation and the male preference. But to answer the question, yes, traditional women are still wanted by men. Traditional women are still needed by men. And there always will be some men that desire those type of women. There always will be the traditional mindset that want a traditional wife, a traditional quote-unquote housewife. Always will be. But I think over time, I'm thinking, since you think about the time where Beaver and all of that was made back in those days, 50s, whatever, I think that the demand of traditional wives were very high. But as time goes on, I think they're still needed and they're still desired. The traditional wives, the housewives, the stay-at-home wives, they're still desired, they're still needed. But I think that as time goes by, the demand for those particular wives are much lower than it was, say, 50 years ago. So there always will be desired by men. It's just that as time goes by, the demand will decrease. And in my opinion, that is. And who knows? Right now I want a career woman or new age woman. But that still could change. It's not, because there's nothing wrong with a traditional housewife. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a stay-at-home wife. If you got it like that, she can sit on her ass all day. Now, I'm not saying that all of those women I named. A lot of you are saying, well, you named a lot of affluent women, and I'm sure that they didn't. You say they did their career and they held it down at home and did all of the duties and so forth, but they had a lot of help. Yes, they did. I understand that. I'm sure that all of those women I named had a lot of help. They had nannies, they had maids, butlers, whatever the case may be. They were affluent women and they had a lot of help. So they could do the career and the home more easily than someone who didn't have that help. That's why I'm saying that, there's nothing wrong with a traditional housewife who does all of that. She does all of that with no help, kids, house duties, giving pussy up, everything. She takes care of everything. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a very good woman. There's nothing wrong with a career woman who more focused on a career, but also does the home thing, but just not full time. She might do it a little time, or you might have to contribute into the house duties. It's like a 50-50 thing. It's not all her. Or a stay-at-home wife where she's just not doing shit. So it depends on what type of woman you want. And there's nothing wrong with any of them as long as that's what you desire. As long as you are happy, and I'm speaking to the man, then that's the only thing that counts. That's the only thing that counts. If you're happy, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So, to answer the question, are traditional women still wanted by men? Yes, they are. It's just that over time, I think the demand for those traditional women will decline. But, that's just my opinion. We'll see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed tonight's segment of the XY Show. Be sure to listen on your desired venue for the show, whether it's iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, or Google Play. And my main platform is the Spreaker Network. You can find this episode and all my archived episodes that you may have missed in the past. You can also follow me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram. And also be sure to subscribe to me on all of your venues that you listen to me as well. You can find everything on my website, which is www.thexyshow.com, www.thexyshow.com. You can find everything there, all my platforms, all of social media, as well as the X and Y store. Get you a t-shirt or a coffee mug and show everybody that you're a true X and Wyer. We got some nice designs in there, a few Halloween designs, and we have Christmas designs coming up as well. I'm thinking about doing a Thanksgiving, I don't know, but stay tuned for that. That is the XY store, and also be sure to send me any constructive criticism that you may have, or any notes that you might have, or any suggestions for the show. I'll always be sure to listen to you. And also stay tuned for the new episodes that are coming. I'll probably have those posted on my website probably Sunday or Monday. So check out the website and see what upcoming episodes are coming down the pipe on the X and Y show, so you can stay well informed of what's going on. With that being said, that concludes tonight's episode of the X and Y show. And I will say goodnight, and always remember, there cannot be any love without X and Y. Good night, and I will see you next week. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.